T, we stand here together on the midst of my achievement, not yours.
No, wait a second.
Wait. We're actually doing an Arkham list. Sorry.
That's right.
Getting off track a little bit. We haven't done one of these in a while. I was trying to take a break, but I just can't stay away. I just need a little bit of it in my life.
Back for more, dipping your toe in the Arkham pool.
So we want to take a look today at the 5 best, our 5 favorite, I would say, Easter eggs that we can think of off the top of our heads. This is probably going to be actually a series of videos. Over time, we're going to do some other Easter eggs that we love in the game. But this will encompass really all of the games, except we're not really looking too heavily at Blackgate. Maybe someday.
That's true, yeah. There's so many Easter eggs in really every game. So this will absolutely be more than one video. But
yeah, for sure.
First ones that come to mind.
So the first one we wanted to take a look at actually today is John Constantine. John Constantine is actually shown to exist in Batman Arkham Knight. He is on Founders Island, but you don't actually see him. But that's where his base of operations in Gotham was before the shutdown.
Yes. Yeah, you see on a little garage door, you see his symbol, his name on there, and a paranormal investigator, I think is what you see. Which is so cool because especially lately for me, I was never a big John Constantine guy. I didn't really know who it was until I saw Justice League Dark and most recently Apocalypse War that just came out. And he is fantastic in those movies. I've heard the show was actually really good as well.
Yeah, it was sadly very short-lived. And the Hellblazer comic series are very up and down in terms of quality, but some of them are very good.
Yeah, that's tough.
So he's a really interesting character. He's obviously a key player in the Justice League Dark branch of the Justice League. And this does seem to confirm something else in the series, which we will get to actually in our next Easter egg, because this is a very shallow one, but with the inclusion of something else, I think it matters more.
Absolutely.
So that's Zatanna. Zatanna does show up in Batman Arkham Origins, not in person, but her existence. You can see a poster for her in Jezebel Center outside the Monarch Theater, and you can also find her hat in My Alibi. And I do believe also I don't have it listed because it's a different Easter egg, but there is an Easter egg reference to her again in Night, if I recall correctly.
I believe you're right, yeah. And so, the paranormal thing, you really don't see a lot of that in Arkham, if any at all. I mean, you see people disappearing, I guess, like Azrael, but you don't see actual paranormal, mystical stuff going on.
Yeah, not a lot of spiritual stuff. I mean, the closest you could come to that, I guess, is the Lazarus Pit, in terms of, powered spiritual things.
Right.
But it's also a chemical in the earth, the Lazarus element, so it's kind of not.
Yeah, and even when I guess it's more of a hallucination almost, but when Ra's al Ghul gives Batman the drink to make him survive a little bit longer in City. Maybe that's about as close as you're getting to the really weird things, I guess, and more hallucinating with Scarecrow. But otherwise, no, this was a nice confirmation of 2 characters that are definitely involved with Batman. And
the existence of some sort of paranormal activity in this universe.
Yes.
Whether it's spirits or magic or whatever, it does seem that is an element that even though we don't really directly interact with, is something that exists in the world of Arkham.
Oh, for sure.
So
I agree.
That's really cool to see. We also wanted to talk about something. I actually think that you pointed this out to me when we were kids. Oh, we actually skipped over one.
We did. We
That's my bad. So that's the Court of Owls. The Court of Owls is actually in Arkham Origins, in a way.
Indeed.
At least allusions to them. You have the statue allusions to them at the Royal Hotel.
Yes.
So that's really cool. But then there's one more, even more in-depth thing about them, which I think is really fascinating.
Yeah, it's the nursery rhyme that is about the Court of Owls. There's a book that you can find in the game that actually has the exact nursery rhyme in there, and it is haunting.
And that actual rhyme reads, "The Court of Owls watches all the time, ruling Gotham from shadowed perch behind granite and lime. They watch you at your hearth, they watch you in your bed. Speak not a whispered word of them, or they'll send the talon for your head." So it's like a cautionary rhyme. This is the sort of thing that you also used to see. I'm really, really stretching this a little bit.
Okay.
But in something like Grimm's Fairy Tales, this is almost
yeah.
It's almost like a cautionary rhyme for children or for people to mind your own damn business. You know what I mean? Do what you're supposed to do. Don't go poking around where you're not supposed to be because you don't know what's out there. It's kind of what the Court of Owls boils down to.
Right.
And the fact that there's actual statues of the Talons, it really does lead me to believe that the organization either does or did exist at some point in Gotham's past.
At some point. And it's really cool that they were able to take that and put it throughout the world a little bit in spots like that, and almost and give it a Court of Owls feel too, where it's like it's not something very out in the open. They're very just kind of in the background, kind of keeping their presence slightly in the limelight, but really not.
Yeah, they're like around enough to be remembered.
Yes.
And that's it.
Yes, and that's it. Yeah.
So
was super cool.
So yeah, that's really interesting, I think, as well. I also think about this too, one last thing on it, is that it does actually explain fear in the Arkham universe. Like, it does give you another element of how the people of Gotham have lived in fear kind of forever. I mean, it's never been a good place. So
yeah,
it's definitely a fascinating look at that.
It definitely is. Yeah. And especially, I guess with the background of Scott Snyder and everything like that you see, they are terrifying. And the idea of them being there, or even being like a side mission, or potentially later on a focus of a game, was really cool. And it was cool to see how that, in an environment like Arkham Origins, where it's very dark and even like a Christmas vibe to it too, I think they could absolutely pull off an environment where the Court of Owls could fit in really well and be a little horrifying.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. The next one we want to talk about, we are going to summarize as best as we can, because we are not mathematicians or code breakers really at all. But there was a pretty extensive, it's like a coded transmission in Batman Arkham City that actually was teasing Batman Arkham Knight and Rocksteady's plans for it. 12, 18. I don't think that this was as in-depth and ambitious of an Easter egg as the one from Asylum teasing City, but it's still fascinating.
It is, yeah, and it takes a lot of work, and I think that's what I really like about this too, is it was such a difficult Easter egg to find, and you have to actually you
have to use a cipher. It's like a Caesarian cipher.
Yeah, you had to actually cipher out this code, add everything up, and there's 3 different messages. So the first one is, I will return Batman. This is coming from Scarecrow.
Yep.
And then the second one is, you will pay for what you have done to me. And the last one is, fear will tear Gotham to shreds. So 3 really, obviously foreshadowing messages that lead right into Night, and set the tone that way. And it's just a brilliant Easter egg, and how difficult it is to find, but also how rewarding it is when you find it too.
Well, can we also mention that it happens after the game? There actually are a lot of players in games, so like players have different amounts of time and attention that they devote to each game. Because of that, there's players like you and me that scour everything in a title if we love it. We really do that a lot of the time.
For sure.
Or like we'll platinum a game or something. And then there's the people where it's like, I have 2 hours of free time a day. I'm really busy. I finished the game. Time to move on to the next one. And so a lot of people didn't see this because of that. I mean, it's post-game, and on top of that, you have to run it through a cipher. And who's going to pull out their cryptographic sequencer just to listen to the radio post-game, for no reason?
Right.
So there's a lot of steps to this that sort of limited the accessibility, and yet everybody could find it.
Absolutely. And there was, especially in City, there were absolutely a few Easter eggs that were way too difficult. Maybe they were way too difficult, because Rocksteady at some point had to come out and be like, hey, there's more Easter eggs. Or like,
you didn't find everything.
Right.
Please go back.
Please go back. There's more.
Please clap.
Please. Yeah, thank you, Jeb. Very cool. There was the one of on the boat that was in City as well. That was way too hard to find. You had to be lined up in the perfect spot, pull out your cryptographic sequencer in the absolute perfect location on a random boat in the map. So it was, there were some really difficult ones, but those difficult ones had the highest reward, though. You got the most out of them. So I think that was a really cool
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a different tier between stumbling across John Constantine's office and decoding a Caesarian cipher message.
Yes,
that's a very different tier, but they're both special.
No doubt.
And the final one we want to take a look at really quick is one that we've covered in depth before, but it's probably our favorite Easter egg in the entire series. I would say it's one of my favorite Easter eggs in gaming at all, and one of the most ambitious, wow, you definitely had a lot of courage to throw that out there. Because the actual office of Warden Sharp, with the hidden panel where you go in and you find the plans to Arkham City, that is teasing a whole nother video game like we've discussed before. And on top of that, imagine the courage you have and the faith in your game to say, this is going to be successful enough to warrant a sequel.
Yeah,
Here, we're teasing the sequel.
Yeah, they knew what they had, is essentially what it was. They knew that they had created something awesome. They had a great story. They had great voice actors. It was basically, we've got the 90s animated series again.
Yep.
We've captured this. We love it. I think we can make a second one and do really well with it. And they put a room that was also incredibly difficult to find.
Yeah.
We have to put 3 explosive gel bat symbols in the exact location that you need to, blow them up, and then have that open up a room randomly in the warden's office. Brilliant.
I remember when you told me about this, I think I spent like 10 minutes trying to get it to work. Like just standing at the wall like, like trying to actually do it, because it's not easy. And that's why it took people so long to find.
No, it was brilliant in how they had it. It was so difficult to find, but when you get in there, it was like you had stumbled across a gold mine where there were plans, there were pictures and layouts of things everywhere. It's I think partial nostalgia too, because it was like, oh, this is what, I think that's why it's probably at the top of our list.
Well, I also encountered it though after you, because you played this game about 3 or 4 years before I did, and I still had the same experience. I think it is a really special thing if you don't know about it going in.
Yes.
Maybe if you're someone who read about it online, you find it, it's like, oh, neat.
Right.
But like stumbling on this was massive. This also really reminds me of the old Easter eggs in video games. So like, there was a time in gaming before a lot of people probably who even watched this channel, like in the 90s, where hidden things in video games were not always easy to find on the internet. So it was like you find it yourself, or you hear about it word of mouth from a friend or something like that. And this reminds me of that old era of Easter eggs where it was just so rewarding. It's it's like Mew under the truck in Pokemon. Even though that wasn't a real thing. It's like a folklore video game thing. Yes. You hear about it from a friend, you're like, no, I didn't find that.
Right.
That's insane.
It is, and it's especially if you found it, if it was happening before City came out.
Yeah.
It was, this is all we have right now. Like, let's analyze every part of this. What's going on there? Does this mean another character's coming in? It was just, there was so much to unpack with it, and there were a million YouTube videos. I shouldn't say a million, but there were a lot of YouTube videos that were like analyzing.
How dare you liar.
I know, fraud. But yeah, it was really well done. I loved it. It's my favorite Easter egg of all time in the Arkham series.
Yeah, it's so good. Hey, so let us know below what you think about the Easter eggs in the Batman Arkham series. What are your thoughts on them? What is your favorite? And are there any that we didn't talk about that you'd like to see in a follow-up video? Let us know in the comments down below. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more content. We'll be coming out with all kinds of stuff. And we'll see you in the next one. Oh, check out the Let's Play channel. Playing through a lot of fun stuff over there. Degenerate Plays. Link in the description below. Good night. I love you.